Hi guys, this is Nicholas. A few of you were having some questions on labs 5 and 6 on the Quantize tool. So I'm just gonna show you a quick tips that I use, when I'm working on my projects. So I set a few examples in which I use the Quantize tool. So the first one is when I want to use the Quantize for time. So as you can see over here, I have a drum track. I'm just gonna solo it. And if you can notice, the hi-hat notes are a little bit off. So I want them all to be on time. So for that, I'm gonna select only the hi-hat notes. I can go either click outside the grid and then just drag the mouse and select all of them. Sometimes it can take time, especially if you have a long track and you want to select all the notes. So I'm just gonna go here to the piano roll and click on it, on that specific key that is assigned for the hi-hat. Then I'm just gonna go here. I set this for a 16 note, but you can change it for an 8th note depending on the length of the note and the placement on the track. So I'm just gonna hit Q, and that is gonna quantize all the notes and move them to the nearest grid. Of course, you can apply also the strength if you don't want, but if you don't want it to be so perfect, you can always move the strength and make it a little bit more human, but I'm gonna leave it at 100. I think it's fine. Perfect, they are on time, that sounds great. Second scenario, I have strings. And for these strings, sometimes when you play the piano, and if it's a weighted key, if you don't put too much pressure on the key, the note is gonna be recorded with the low velocity, or actually loud, depending on the strength that you put the pressure on the key. So if you want all the notes to have the same velocity, you can do that. For example, I'm gonna go here and select this section. Now, I'm gonna go to Functions, Midi Transform, and Fixed Velocity. That's gonna open a new window and it's gonna ask me how much velocity do you want on those notes selected. In this case, I want it pretty loud, so I'm gonna leave it on 120. Hit Select and Operate. Let's close the window, and look what happens. Now all the notes have the same velocity. Of course, there is a problem with this. This is, for example, when you want to play a piano if you don't want to have the weighted key at all. So you can just go fixed velocity, and whenever you play the piano, all the notes are gonna have the same velocity. The problem is that, for example, this is just a chord. This is just chords with the strings. But if you have a melody over here in this area, that also is gonna affect the melody. And sometimes you don't want that. You want, to have that sense of that the chords are playing something with a different dynamic than the melody, or vice versa. So I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna undo this. The second way that I do this is I, again, select these notes. I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna go here to the drop-down menu. I wanna make sure that I have the velocity tool selected, and I'm gonna press on the MacBook, if you have a Mac computer, Command, Option, Shift. And look what happens to the mouse. It's gonna show me the V for velocity, and as soon as you press the note, all the notes that were selected, I'm gonna have the same velocity. That's what I wanted for this example. Now, only the notes that were selected have the different velocity than this. Then again, I can just, modify the velocity as I place. So that's one of the second scenario. And then the last scenario is, for example, if you want to change the length of the notes. Sometimes when you play the keyboard, all the notes, they don't have the same length. So for example, I want these notes specifically. I'm going to show you the melody, how it sounds. And you will see why I need to change the length. Let's try again. Let's solo this. I don't want that. I think it's necessary to have the same length in all the notes so that the sentence, the musical sentence makes sense. So I could go either one by one, start to resize all of them. But that's gonna take a lot of time, especially if you have a long melody. So I don't wanna do that. The way I do it is, again, I select, go to the piano roll, and if I want both selected, I'm gonna press Shift. First one, and then Shift and press the other, and that's gonna sustain both. Then, by in your Mac, your computer, just pressing Option, Shift, and then go to any of the notes in the border. As soon as you see this symbol, you're gonna click on it, and then automatically all the notes, as soon as you move them, all are gonna have the same length. You can change it, you can make it long or very short. But always with the Option and Shift, you need to be holding those keys. Then you can release the mouse, and then you can modify the length here. Now I'm going to show you why it makes sense to have the notes with the same length and kind of short. I think this way sounds better. So those were a few tips that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know if you have any question.